Are you longing to feel connected and not so alone? Longing to be happy and more alive? Badass Counseling is excited to announce the creation of Community Plus, a subscription-based private group of folks just wanting to more closely share their soul journey together with like-minded folks and with me, Sven. For a monthly fee, you'll get bi-monthly live Q&As with me, Sven, giving you a better chance of getting your own questions answered. A private community feed for you to post pictures, successes, struggles, joys, even the occasional cat picture, creating greater connection and help for healing and growth. Random drawings for free small group sessions and drawings for private coaching sessions with me. Priority access to becoming a guest on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Unlimited access to my DIY video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. And so much more. Community Plus is for people serious about their soul journey who want real growth, real help, real laughter, real connection, and true community. Join us now at badasscounseling.com.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello, fine people. You have found us. We are the Badass Counseling Show, and it's great to have you here, whether you are tuning in from Dublin up in the UK or over there in Stockholm and Oslo. It's great to have you Northern Europeans here, as well as way, way, way down under New Zealand, Australia, and the folks over there in Japan. We have listeners around the world, and we love all of you. It's so neat that you're all tuning in, as well as all across Canada where it's cold, people. We love you all. Thanks for tuning into the show. I am joined here in studio. My name is Sven Erlandson. I'm joined in studio by KC over in the booth and Rob the Rocket sitting next to me. Hello, Rob.
Always nice sitting next to you, Sven. I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to just kind of help whatever I can do.
Well, I tell you, I bet you appreciate it even more on those days that I shower.
Well, most days you're okay. Most days.
Okay. Well, that's good. And Rob, had any earworms or songs in your head recently?
No, but I had a thought in my head. The times are tough these days around the world, but then again, times are always tough. So we got to find a way to work through, and somehow we always do.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was, my girlfriend and I listened to my book that you and I recorded in studio, Badass Wisdom. And just this past week, one of them was on that old World War I marching song, pack up your troubles in the old kit bag
and smile.
Yeah. And, and look on the sunny side of life, and how there have always been hard times. And it's easy to say, oh, the world's falling apart and these are the worst times ever. But they said that back in the 60s when the world was falling apart in Vietnam.
I remember.
You lived through it, and Bobby and Malcolm and Martin and all that, and then back in World War II and so on and so forth. And so the world's always falling apart in one way or the other, and I guess as I see it, we're called to be beacons of light in the world and to work for the good.
Pack up your troubles. The song goes, what's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile. Although sometimes it is smart to actually deal with your troubles. So the packing up. Well, there's dealing and then there's excess worrying.
Well, I agree, but I'm a dealing kind of guy, which is, I think, why we have this show. So let's deal, Rob. Tell us about Kiki.
I would be delighted, Sven. Kiki wrote in with a subject line, I want to disappear. She says, I'm a 42-year-old nurse married to my second husband for 12 years and mother to 3 daughters. My first marriage was abusive, both physically and emotionally. We had 1 daughter together before I got out. Before then, I got pregnant at 17. I had a plan to have the baby and put her up for adoption, but when I told my mom, she had other plans. And not a day goes by I don't regret the abortion, and I feel like I have been a ghost of the person I could have been. My pain is bleeding out onto my family, and it needs to stop. Please, please help.
Kiki, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I think the part that I find most interesting, at least right at the beginning, I mean, all of it is, of course, is the subject line to your email. You said, I want to disappear. Why do you want to disappear? What are you feeling that causes you to want to disappear? Given the, obviously it's regarding the abortion that you had when you were 17, that your mother made you have because you wanted to have an adoption. Okay, so, but why do you want to disappear? What are you feeling that makes you want to disappear?
I just feel like there's still so much emotion that's locked up with that makes me not a good mother. And like my girls would be better off without me.
Okay. And so there's so much emotion that's locked up inside of me. And so I asked you the question, what are you feeling? So I'm actually asking you for to name, give me a feeling word that you feel that makes you want to disappear.
Sad.
Sad. And what in this whole story, in one sentence or less, is the saddest part for you?
Just the loss of the baby.
And this is going to sound stupid, but it's an honest question. Why is that so sad?
I think just looking back on the whole thing, it's that my whole experience was not allowed to be, felt. And like my plan that I had was just not going to be good enough. It was not okay. And that I had to do this other thing because, I was still a child. I still, I trusted my mom to do what was best for me and keep me from harm. And that's not what happened.
You know what's interesting about what you just said? I'd ask you, give me a feeling word that caused you to make you want to disappear. And you said, well, my feelings are all locked up. I said, yeah, but give me a feeling word. You said sad. I said, okay, what's the saddest part? You said the loss of the baby. I said, well, why? Which is a dumb question. Obviously, come on, idiot, Sven. I lost the baby. But I wanted to ask it. And you answered. What's fascinating is what you answered. I asked you, why is it sad you lost the baby? And your answer was, because my experience was not allowed. My plan was not good enough and wasn't okay. So in other words, in your reason why it was sad you lost the baby, you didn't talk about the actual baby. You talked about the loss of your plan, that your plan was basically stolen from you. It was ripped from you by your mother. You didn't talk about the loss of the baby. You didn't say, I felt the baby inside of me and I felt like we were one. And when it was gone, it's just like I had this like spiritual experience. Nothing about the description of the baby. You talked about the experience with your mother. I'm inclined to think that when you said my experience was not allowed, the plan I had was not good enough and it was not okay. As you think about that my experience was not allowed, that by mom, and my plan was not good enough and not okay, Mom said she had other plans, as you wrote in your paragraph. I told Mom and she had other plans. Does Mom's not allowing your experience and your plan not being good enough, does that make you sad?
That has made me angry.
Well, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been pretty angry about it. And I've brought it up to her and she kind of just basically gaslights me and says that she didn't know that that's what I wanted to do.
Is that true or is that untrue?
That's not true because a friend and I met with her and I told her what had happened and what my plan was. And she said, you'll always regret, giving that baby up for adoption. Every time you look at a child, you'll think, is that mine?
She said, you'll always regret giving it up, but you won't regret killing it.
Right.
Is that like pretty much the dumbest fucking thing you've heard in the last 30 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you say she gaslights you and she denies knowing what your plan was.
Yes.
And when you've brought it up to her, and how does that make you feel? Give me a feeling word when she gaslights you and denies, oh, I didn't know that was your plan. Hey, I didn't know. How does that make you feel? Give me a feeling word.
Just anger. I mean, I'm still pretty furious about it. And that's been, 25 years ago.
And when was the first time you brought it up to your mother?
Maybe only 5 years ago.
5 years ago. And out of curiosity, you're 42 now. So that means you brought up when you were 37. I got to ask, why 37? Why not 31? Or why not 40? Why did you bring it up at 37? Why all of a sudden, 20 motherfucking years later, did you bring it up?
Honestly, I don't know. I just, I had a long commute for work, and I would really get into my feelings and memories on that long drive, and just started really thinking about it again, and thinking that I need to have this conversation with her.
Why did you need to have the conversation with her? Why?
I guess I wanted to hear her apologize.
Okay. So you'd been thinking about it on your long drives, and you'd been feeling the feelings. Back then, when you were thinking about it and feeling it all, what was the main feeling you were thinking? Or, excuse me, main feeling that you were feeling as you thought about the pregnancy and your plans for adoption, her having other plans, the abortion and all that? What was the main feeling you were feeling then?
I think betrayal.
Wow. Your mom betrayed you by fundamentally doing what?
Well, then she'd been through it herself. So she'd had an abortion before she married my dad, and it was his, but since they weren't married, it was keeping up appearances. We have to be these perfect people. And so
wait.
Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to ask. So she had an abortion by your dad when she was how old? When they weren't married, she was how old?
Lord, I don't even know.
Speculate.
Maybe early 20s.
Early 20s. And was that abortion her idea or her parents' idea? Who was keeping up appearances?
Well, I'm not sure that her parents even knew.
Who was she afraid of appearing wrong to?
I think probably her mom.
Her mom. Okay. So then you come along at 17. You miss your period. You're a month or two in. You go to mom. And let me ask you, if you were to speculate, now maybe mom actually came right out and said it. I don't know. But if you were to speculate, was mom's reason for pushing the abortion keeping up appearances?
That's the only conclusion I have come up with after all these years.
And whose judgment did mom fear if her daughter starts walking around like a little pregnant girl? Whose judgment did she fear most? Was it the ladies at church? Was it her own mother? Was it, somebody thinking, was it her ex-husband, your dad? Yeah, who was it that she would or was it just the whispers of the ladies, in her pinochle club? Who would be the one person she most feared judging her because her daughter was preggo?
It's a toss-up between, I think probably the most would be her mom, but then also, the people at the church.
People at the church. So let me ask you this. You said that's your best guess. What do you think, what percent do you think is the likelihood that your mom made you get an abortion so she could save face?
Oh, 100%.
Wow. And then at 37, you were telling us that you decided, okay, I'm going to reach out. I'm feeling betrayed by her, okay? And I'm going to reach out to her because I want an apology. So you were clearly of the belief that you had been wronged by her, that she had stolen what you wanted, okay? So you clearly believed it was your body and your choice. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And she stole that from you, and she stole it for her image. And so you're 37, and you go to mom, what, in person, by phone, in a letter, what?
By phone.
By phone. And mom's response was gaslighting, is that right? And denial?
Yes.
And in that moment, did it register as anger or as shock? How did it register in the moment?
I think I was shocked because I remember telling her what the plan was. And so for her to say she didn't know, I was just kind of dumbfounded. Like, how could you not have known? I detailed it out where I was going to move to, finish out high school, give up the baby for adoption, and come back home. And,
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a strange question. Based on everything, you've known your mother your whole life, obviously. Based on everything you know about your mother, Kiki, and everything you knew about your mother prior to that conversation, was her denying it in character or out of character?
At that time, when we had the conversation, it was in character. I was starting to see her for who she was.
What I'm saying is, prior to that conversation, in the 37 years leading up to that, was your mom a person who would deny responsibility and lie, gaslight, lie to get out of looking bad and so forth? In other words, was her gaslighting in that moment, was that consistent with who she had always been, or was that some new thing?
No, it was consistent.
Right. That makes total sense. She didn't have some new epiphany and all of a sudden she's this new, sneaky little shit. No, that was consistent. And so in a way, it was shocking that she was gaslighting you. But on the other hand, it wasn't. When you really think about it, it's like, of course she denied it. Of fucking course she denied it. Let me ask you that. What do you think about the fact that this is who you've always been, Mom? Motherfucker, you just proved to me. You just fucking proved to me by denying it that I've been right the whole time. This is who the fuck you've always been. What do you think about that?
It hurts because it's, you have this person made up in your head of who they are, and then the real person comes out and they're not the same.
Yeah. It's sad, isn't it? It's disappointing.
Yep.
Tears come with that?
Oh, yeah.
What are you feeling right now?
Just sad.
What's the saddest part right now as you think about the disappointment regarding your mother? What's the saddest part? We're not talking about the baby at the moment. We're talking about the disappointment with your mother. What's the saddest part?
I guess just realizing that she's not who I thought she was.
And why is that disappointing?
I guess because everybody wants that mom that, keeps them from harm and loves them unconditionally. And, and then when that's suddenly just gone, it's like losing someone.
Oh, it's absolutely losing someone. And you want a mom you can look up to. It's like a dad. You want a daddy you can look up to in life, someone you can admire. You want a mom that is just this good person, and you can aspire to be like her, and then to discover she's a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to ask you a really, really, really hard question, and it's not even a fair question, but it's an honest question. But you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, Kiki, okay?
Okay.
Which is sadder for you? Losing the baby or losing your mother?
Since I had planned on giving the baby up for adoption, I didn't, fully let myself be emotionally attached. I mean, I know that sounds horrible.
No, I get it.
But I knew that she was going to go on and make some other mommy and daddy very happy.
Yeah.
So I guess losing the mom that I thought I had is worse because it's made me, miserable.
That's it.
And it's made me a different person, and it's made me into not the mom that I want to be.
That's right. What you're really grieving is the death of your mother. It's not the death of the child. And I'm not saying the loss of your child isn't significant. I'm not saying that. But you just said the bigger thing is the death of your mother. The mother you wanted, the mother you hoped for, the mother that every little girl and boy should have and wants. I do want to ask you one question, though, before we go to commercial. And it's this. You just said it's basically caused me to not be the mother that I want to be. How has the death of the mother you wanted her to be, how has her being that mother caused you to not be the mother you really want to be? What's the correlation?
It's that I still have so much anger inside, and I haven't processed all of those emotions and dealt with and let them go. So it comes out, and I yell at my kids, and I don't spend quality time with them.
I got it. That makes total sense. Well, I've got a couple more questions for you right after we come back. Much more to come.
You've heard Sven talk a lot about his book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. And that's because Sven hears from his followers a lot about how much the book has helped them. If you're not sure how to handle the issues getting in the way of a better life, you're not alone. And you have a lot of choices. But thousands of readers will tell you that this is a great place to start, by yourself and at your own pace. So go to badasscounseling.com and order There's a Hole in My Love Cup, and you'll have Sven right there with you as you forge your best future. It's totally badass. So get started today.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back with Kiki. Kiki, before we went to commercial, you mentioned that your mother not being the mother you wanted her to be, you experiencing the death of the mother that you wanted, caused you to not be the mother that you want to be and that your children deserve. And you helped us understand that by explaining it, that you've not gotten all your feelings out regarding your mother. And so now it's all coming out on your kids, right? You're angry at your mother. You're hurt by your mother. You're angry at your mother. And you're taking that anger out on your children. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes.
So when you say my pain is bleeding out onto my family and it needs to stop, that's what you're referring to?
Right.
So the pain isn't like sadness and stuff. Well, I mean, it is sadness. It's sadness over the death of your mother, but it's manifesting as anger and so forth onto your kids. And so it's hurting your own family. Question is, why have you not yet let the anger out regarding your mother? Why?
I'm scared. I'm scared to face those ugly truths. And
why are you scared? And that's okay. It's very normal to be scared. What are you most scared of? You said, I'm scared to face the ugly truths. You didn't say I'm scared to feel the feelings. Maybe that's what you meant. I don't know. But you said, I'm scared to face the ugly truths. What are the ugly truths you're most afraid to face? Or why are you afraid to face the ugly truths? Why?
Because it's not just mom, there's mom and dad. Dad always has a part to play too, right? Mm-hmm. And he's been gone for almost 10 years now. And
why? So why are you afraid? Dad's been dead for 10 years. Why are you afraid to face the ugly truths regarding dad? Do you feel like you're dishonoring the dead or something like that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And what is the single biggest truth about dad? If we're just being honest, if we're just finally looking at your life through the eyes of just truth, we're not going to protect anybody anymore. You don't have to confront mom. You don't have to, go urinate on dad's grave. You don't have to do anything. We're just going to look at it all as truth. What is the single biggest truth about dad that you've been avoiding looking at? What is it? In one sentence, what the fuck really was his colossal crime?
I think he kind of let mom just walk all over him.
So dad was a coward.
Yeah.
And what do you wish dad what is the single biggest thing you wish dad would have done? Whether it's regarding the abortion adoption or regarding something else, what is the single biggest thing in your lifetime that you wish dad would have fucking done?
Spent more time with us. He was always busy working. We had a farm and, we would help out. It was a family thing, we'd all help out. And I got my hunter safety license so I could go hunting with him just to spend time with him. But Mom made it seem like she made us think that he didn't really care about us. And
why do you think Mom was spinning that yarn, as they used to say in the old days? Why was Mom spinning that yarn that, oh, your dad doesn't want to spend time with you? Why do you think she was saying that?
She didn't really care much for his side of the family. And so we didn't spend a whole lot of time with that part of the family.
Understood. But why was she spinning a yarn against him, saying, oh, he doesn't want to spend time with you? Why?
Okay. At some point, when I went through my divorce, I became her therapist somehow because she was talking with an ex-boyfriend. And I was trying to tell her that she should not be doing that. And this ex-boyfriend of hers, she almost married instead of my dad. But since she'd had the abortion, she was worried she couldn't have kids. And she didn't want to pin that on the ex-boyfriend. So I think she really resented my dad. And I don't think it was Dad's decision to have the abortion because he's always loved babies. But I think she just held a lot of resentment towards my dad, and she was going to punish him by turning his kids against him. Yes. And,
wow.
And I don't think she really wanted to marry him in the first place. And so
she felt stuck because her mom made her get the abortion, and then she didn't want to pin it on or stick the guy she really liked with, her not being able to have kids. She settles in her mind for your dad, and she resents it the entire fucking time. And then she takes her bullshit out on him, and he was clearly afraid of her. But that doesn't explain why he didn't spend more time with you. What do you think the reason is? We know your mom created this fucking bullshit story. Oh, he doesn't want to spend time with you. But if he loved babies, that means he probably loved kids too. Why do you think your dad didn't spend more time with you guys?
I don't know. Because he was home. It's not like he would go out drinking or, doing things with the guys or anything. Yeah. He'd be home. We'd sit and watch MASH and Cheers and everything together every night.
Sure. Bottom line is he didn't spend more time with us. That's Dad's crime. Okay.
Right.
And does that bring up mainly anger or sadness for you, or both?
Both. Yeah.
And what % anger and what % sadness?
Maybe like 70% sadness and 30% anger.
Very good. And then you said, I asked you why you hadn't let the anger out yet, like basically regarding Mom. You said, I'm scared to face the ugly truths. And I said, well, why? And which truths? And you said, well, because it's Mom and Dad's in the grave. And so you said you feel guilt. The bottom line is, would your dad want you to get out any anger and shit? Would your dad want you to be fucking happy? Even if it meant flushing out some of your anger at him, wouldn't he be like, honey, just get it out. I can handle it. I'm dead. I can handle it. Get it out. Be happy. Would your dad basically fucking say that?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, allow yourself, write your dad a letter. Write your dad a couple of letters and just get mad at him, rage at him, and express your sadness. Dad, you let me down. And it's okay to say that. And a good parent would say, fuck, you know what? You're right. I did. I fucked up, and I regretted it every day of my life. I just wanted to be with my little girl. Okay? But you got to get it out of your system because it's bleeding out on your kids. But now over to the mom one, I'm scared to face the ugly truths. What's the biggest truth you're afraid to face with regard to your mom? Let's get down and dirty here. What are you really afraid to face? Is it something about her, or is it something you feel inside of you towards her? Or you said, the reason I haven't let the anger out is because I'm afraid to face the ugly truths. Well, you told us, talked about Dad. What about Mom?
I'm just scared of what I'll find down in there, if it's...
What do you think what are we really fucking talking about?
like that maybe her whole life is just a sham, which makes
Why would you be afraid of that?
That everything was all done for the wrong reasons.
Well, right. And it sounds like you already kind of fucking know that. Let me ask you this, though. Is it possible what you're really afraid is of the feelings you really fucking feel towards her?
Yeah.
Is it possible? Well, let me ask you this. I had asked you earlier what you feel towards your mom regarding the abortion thing. You said, well, anger. She gaslights me. I feel anger. But then we were talking. Then we came back to it. And I said, what are you feeling? You said furious. You changed the word. Now, you and I both know there's a difference between anger and furious. Right. Let me ask you just a straight fucking question. Is the biggest crime that your mother committed against you that she made you have an abortion when you want to have an adoption? Or was the biggest crime your mom committed against you something else, or maybe how she treated you your entire life? What's the single biggest crime or the main thread, or what really is your mom's crime? Dad's crime was he didn't spend enough time with us. What ultimately was mom's crime? Maybe it was the abortion thing, but what really was the biggest fucking thing with mom?
I think it was, that weaving the tale that dad didn't care, kind of alienating us from him and his side of the family. I remember after he died, the first thing I said when I walked in the house was, he loved you so much. And she said, why didn't I see it?
She said that about him.
Yeah.
Why didn't I see it? And what do you think of that response? What does it make you want to say to her? Oh, there's the giggle. Tell me, what does it make? Answer that question. What does it make you want to say to her? When she says, well, why didn't I see it? What do you want to fucking say to her?
Well, I feel like she didn't love him.
Okay. So when she says, why didn't I see it? What do you, and you don't ever have to say it to her. I'm just saying in that moment, looking back, what do you wish you would have said to her? I mean, if you really had your druthers that day, what do you wish you would have said to her?
Well, maybe if she wasn't talking to other men and focusing
say it as if you're saying it to her.
Yeah. Like if you hadn't been messing around and spending more time watering your own lawn, you would have seen it.
Wow. In other words, sort of, you pushed him away, bitch.
Yeah.
Don't fucking blame him. You were sort of whoring around or cheating or whatever, talking to other men. Do you think she was sleeping with other men too?
Yeah. He found out 2 weeks before he died that she was cheating on him.
Wow. And so the single biggest crime mom committed against you was alienating us from dad and his family. Let me ask you this. Let's go back, setting the dad thing aside. When you were growing up, what was the fundamental message that you got from your mother about yourself? Whether it was spoken or unspoken. Maybe it was a look. Maybe it was words. What ultimately was the message that you got from your mom about yourself?
Well, I didn't have self. I was always referred to as my mini me. I was her 30 years ago. That's what she would always say. You're me 30 years ago. And so I wasn't me. I had no me.
And so your job was what?
To relive her life.
To relive her life. And when you were around her, your job was to what?
Be her friend.
And what was the effect on that little girl and then teenager and then adult by being the mini me and me 30 years ago and there was no me and being mom's friend? What was the effect of that on you?
Well, I still have low self-esteem. I have no confidence. I'm a people pleaser. I ended up in an abusive marriage.
Right. Low self-esteem. People pleaser. Right. because you got the message. There is no me. I don't exist. I exist to live her life all over again and to be her friend, be her mini me. Right? You exist for her. Right?
Right.
You don't exist. You authentically doesn't matter. You serve a purpose in what you're supposed to do for her.
Right.
So your life got stolen. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And so then ever since, you've been grieving also the death of your own self. And also then the furiousness, even potentially there's rage, there's even fucking hatred. You stole my fucking life. You fucking stole my life, and then you stole the life inside of my life that was growing in my fucking belly. You fucking bitch.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way. But yeah.
What are you feeling right now? Feeling word.
I just keep going back to that sadness. I mean, it's unfair.
And you said, I never thought of it that way. Say it in your own words. You heard it in my words. Now repeat it back or put it in your own words.
I just never thought about grieving the life that was stolen from me, of my own, of me.
That's right. She stole your life. And your entire life, you've been grieving the death of you.
Yeah.
As well as the death that was of the life that was growing inside of you.
Yeah.
Right. And the anger is that she stole your life. She killed you. She tried to kill the real you by telling you, you don't matter. There is no you. You?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? There's no you. You exist for me. There's an article on my website. You can read it. It's on emotional incest. And it's about this exact thing. When parents make their children their friend or their mini-me, and the profound negative effect on the child. And again, low self-esteem, abusive relationships later, and all of these sorts of things. It all makes sense. And so what's happening is, what you've really got inside of you, Kiki, is massive amount of sadness and massive amount of fucking rage and hatred towards your mother for killing you.
Yeah.
And until you get that out of you, you're gonna burp it out on your kids every fucking day. And so at some point, you've got to ask yourself, do I have the courage? And I don't need you to ever confront your living, breathing mother in order for you to heal. You don't ever have to confront her. I mean, if you want to, you can. You don't have to. What I need you to do, what your soul needs you to do, is to confront the mother that's inside of you. And that means you have to begin to put into words in your journaling, in writing letters to your mother that you don't send, your most powerful language of your most powerful feelings. I'm going to ask you a very, very hard question right now. First of all, do you believe in that feelings are real and feelings are important? Do you believe in feelings?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there good feelings and bad feelings, or just a feeling is a feeling? And it's only bad when you act on it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So then that would be true of all the feelings, right? Not just the happy and pretty ones. So then I want to ask you a very straight question. You are grieving your own death, that your mother killed you or tried to, and that she stole your life and she killed the life of you and the life that was inside of you. And it is sad and it is unfair. And so I want to ask you one simple question. Recognizing that all feelings are valid, for doing that, as well as for gaslighting you, as well as for denying doing it, as well as killing that baby for her own fucking vanity, do you hate your mother?
Yes.
What percent? Remember, it's just a feeling. She stole your life. 42 years. 42 fucking years. And so much so that you've been harming your kids because of the damage she did, and that your dad was a coward as well and didn't stand up to her. And God damn it, I wish he would have. But what percent do you hate your mother?
I would say 95%.
Tell me a feeling word for how it feels to say that you hate your mother 95%.
It kind of feels icky.
Give me another feeling word. Icky, and give me another feeling word.
I guess at the same time, it kind of feels liberating.
Why does it feel liberating?
I guess it's just good to get it out there.
Good to get it out there. And what's it?
The feeling.
The feeling. The truth.
Yeah.
And is the icky part, is it guilt? Or is it something else?
I think it's guilt. Yeah.
Are you a bad girl for saying you hate your mom 95%?
Kind of feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're not supposed to use that word, are we? And we're definitely not supposed to speak bad about our parents, are we?
Right.
Then why are you doing it?
Because I have to do something. I can't just keep on going the way I am.
Is it true?
Yes.
So you're speaking it because it's true.
Yes.
So even though the guilt, and the guilt is oh, you must be, but you can't ever say anything bad about your parents. Bullshit. If they've been fucking assholes, you know, and killed your baby because of their own fucking vanity, really? Really? And you alienate my father from me and my father's family? Who the fuck? Who does that?
Dad never even knew about the abortion or anything. He never knew. And I think she made me feel like he would be so disappointed in me, like he would disown me if he found out. But knowing what I know now, I know that wouldn't have been the case at all.
What would your father likely have said?
I mean, he may have been disappointed initially, but I think he would have supported me and supported my plan and my decision. And, you know, if anybody tried to talk shit about me, he would have put it down and, you know.
So, and just so I'm clear, okay, so initially he'd be disappointed, you know, okay, fine, whatever. And probably caught off guard, a little bit of shock. Fine, that's normal. But you said he would have supported you. So that means then that 17-year-old's plan, your dad was roughly how many years older than you? Or how old was he when you were born, roughly?
I think about 34.
When you were born. So when you're 17, he's 51. So what that means, if at 51, after he got over the initial shock, that he would have supported you, that means that 17-year-old's plan was, in the eyes of a 51-year-old sane person, a good plan. That says that 17-year-old had good instincts, and she was smart, and she had good decision-making skills. So all these years when you've been thinking you're stupid and you're no good and whatever, it's like, wait, it's not true. That your instincts were actually pretty good, because a 51-year-old guy who you actually trust and look up to, he actually would have confirmed it and says, no, kid, that's actually a pretty good fucking plan. What does that do for you, this person who has low self-esteem, to know that even at 17, you made really fucking good decisions?
Well, it definitely helps.
Is it possible? Is it possible that your mom was wrong? Is it possible that you're actually a good decision maker? Is it possible you're actually fucking smart? Is it possible that you actually have a good fucking head on your shoulders?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were 17, and a 51-year-old man would, if he had had a voice, he would have likely said, Actually, kid, that's pretty fucking smart. Yeah, let's do it. Let's execute. I got your back.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe you're not as fucking dumb as you've been taught to believe that you are. Maybe you're not worthless. Maybe there is a me. Maybe your mom's been full of shit the whole time.
Yeah.
Was that little girl that was 7 or 17, was she good? A good
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
And yet you were taught to believe that basically you weren't, right? So if I'm hearing you correctly, you were taught a lie. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Today, 42 years old, Kiki, do you like you? I want you to quiet yourself. Just relax a minute. Just take a breath. Do you like you?
No.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Give me a percent that you like you or the percent you don't like you. Because I'm willing to bet there are people that actually do like you. First of all, you're a nurse. And I was a hospital chaplain. Nurses are the fucking best. I fucking love nurses. But anyway, I'll bet you have people that like you. But I'm asking you, are there parts of you that you like?
Not any that I can think of, honest.
That makes you sad, doesn't it? Why do you hate yourself so much?
Maybe I just don't know myself.
I think that's probably pretty accurate. Because you weren't allowed to know yourself. There was no room.
No.
You weren't allowed to exist. Yeah. And so one of the things I like to say to people and tell people is that the path to discovering who we are requires discovering who we're not. That includes careers and feelings and thoughts and stuff. And what you need to be doing in your journaling is begin to start flushing out journaling, writing letters to mom, flushing out your pain and your anger and your fucking rage and hatred, writing letters to dad. Don't send the letters to your mom. You don't have to, okay? And also, I want you to write a letter to your dead baby, pouring out all your love. And I want you to write a letter to your 17-year-old self. And I want you to give her the love that no one gave you. Protect her. Whisper sweet nothings in her ear and tell her you got her. And I want you to make a list of all the stuff in your life that isn't you. But you got to start flushing out the anger, especially the anger and the sadness and the grieving, the death of your you. But because the truth is this, your mom didn't kill you. She tried. But there's a divine spark inside of you. There is a spark. And that's the real you. And you have to start to pull out all the crud and all the feelings and all of it. And that spark, like the spark under your water heater. There's a copper tubing that shoots in gas, and that tubing has become corroded and full of crud. And we're cleaning out that crud, all the anger and the sadness in there, so that you can go, whoo, and that spark becomes a full flame. But you got to flush out all those feelings. That is the single biggest thing you can do. And the more you do that, what's going to happen is the real you is going to begin to blossom up from inside. I guarantee it. I promise you this. But it requires you to have the courage to do the one thing that you've been most scared to do, and that's to face the ugly truths inside. And the truth is, we've hit a lot of them today. So it's not like they're as scary because we've talked about a lot of it today. It's just you going into it and grieving it and letting your rage come and putting it out in words and flushing, getting your fucking pen out, and allowing yourself, not just in your head. Don't just let it tumble around in your head on your long drives or whatever. Get it out on pen and fucking paper. Does that seem like something that you can do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Have you read my book yet? There's a Hole in My Love Cup.
I have it, and I started to read, and then I got the audio. I did do the first exercise from chapter 1, but that's all the farther I've gotten. I haven't.
It's okay. It's okay.
I haven't dove any deeper than that.
And just out of curiosity, and a lot of people have that experience, okay? Some people, they buy it and they're so scared of it, they don't even open it, or they'll read just the introduction. It's like, oh, shit, I don't want to do what do you think the reason was that you didn't go any further? And it's totally okay that you did. I'm not scolding you or anything. I'm just curious what the reason was.
I did have a hard time finding time where I could be, alone and quiet and uninterrupted.
Yeah.
Where I could do that. But
and let me ask you, is that the real reason, or is the real reason I was just scared to do the shit? And maybe it is the time thing. I'm just asking. I got to sort of find any blind spots that might be there. Was it really the time, or was it I just don't want to fucking do this shit because it's scary as fuck?
Yeah, no, there was definitely the fear too.
Okay. That's fair. And that's fair. Appreciate your honesty. So then the bottom line, really what it boils down to for you, Kiki, is do you want to fucking heal? Because if you want to fucking heal, you're going to do the work. And the truth is, now reading that book and doing those exercises is going to be completely different, because we've cracked that thing open today. We've cracked open that nut, and you know what's there. The feelings regarding dad, the shit regarding mom, and you know what you got to do? You got to fucking unleash hell. And again, you never have to confront your living, breathing mother. You don't have to do one goddamn thing, but you do got to get all the shit out of you. And that book is going to read completely differently now that we've had this experience here together today. Do you think you have the courage and the discipline to start doing it? Because you have to do this. Otherwise, you're going to keep fucking over your kids, and you're going to lose your kids. There's a high probability that they're going to want to get the fuck away from you, but you have a chance to save it now. Do you see that?
Yes.
That if you heal you and your past, it will radically change your parenting. You said it yourself. Because of my past, I'm basically a shit parent. So it makes sense. If I heal my past, I can change my parenting, and you have a chance to save your kids, but also save your relationship with your kids. Right?
Yes.
Do you see the hope in that?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. And the sense of liberation that you will feel, like you felt earlier today, the sense of liberation you're going to feel the more you get all this out of you, you're going to begin to have more spontaneous energy. You're going to feel lighter. You're going to begin to be happier. That motor inside is going to begin to calm down. You're going to be able to be present and just listen to your kids. You're going to be more present at work. It's going to change you. And the deeper you go and the more you hit this hard, I guarantee you, this isn't a process that has to take for fucking ever. Literally, we're talking, this can really pick up huge momentum in just a couple of months. But it's all a question of, do you got the balls to do the work? So let me ask you, Kiki, you got the balls to do the work?
Yes, I think I do.
I think you do too. I love you, kid. I think you're great. And I think this is a major turning point in your life. And I'm actually really proud of you. What was the biggest epiphany for you today?
The whole loss of myself. That wasn't even on the radar.
That's it. And the one that was most interesting to me was that one. And then also that the death of your mother was even more powerful than the death of the child, the baby inside of you. So death of the baby, death of your mother, but then the death of myself. It's like, You're really grieving 3 deaths.
Yeah. But
the truth is, you didn't really die. You're in there. She tried to kill you, but you're in there, kiddo. And I believe in you. Please stay in touch with my producers. We want to know what happens. So over the next 3, 6, 9 months, please stay in touch with the show. We really want to know. I want to know if you're doing the work and diving into it. Will you stay in touch?
I will.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on to the show, Kiki.
Thank you.
Awesome. You've been awesome. Rob, any final thoughts?
With everything else she has to deal with, overcoming the 25 years of feeling betrayal has got to be enormously challenging.
No, and that's a good one. And that's a good point, Rob. More releasing just on fucking betrayal by your own parent and, your father not defending and all that stuff. Boy, can you imagine the amount of relief she'll feel as she gets all of that out as well.
Got to feel good thinking about it.
Amen.
Hope she does it. And I feel she will.
Yeah, she will. She will. So, to all of our listeners around the world listening to Kiki's story, how inspiring and how liberating for all of us to hear that breakthrough that she had. And the neat part about this show is that people hear stories like Kiki's and it speaks to them. And I know that we have a lot of listeners who have had abortions, and I know this took them deeper and helped them get new insights that it wasn't just about the child they lost and the reasons that they had the abortion and so forth. It's abortion is such a taboo topic, and for Kiki to come on the show and share all of that, wow, what a gift she gave us. What a treasure, what a treasure. So everyone, to all of you listening around the world, thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of my team here, KC in the booth and Rob the Rocket next to me, we wish you to have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.